If you are not satisfied with the results you have been getting in your life, it is essential to understand that these results are the fruits of your actions. To comprehend these results, carefully analyze your actions and behaviors. The most crucial point here is to recognize that what is guiding your actions are the ideas rooted in your subconscious mind. Often you already know how to do better than you are currently doing. You can trust that lack of knowledge is not the problem. For example, a repetitive mental pattern or behavior can bring us great difficulties since these patterns are directly related to our results, and often we do not understand why we cannot achieve what we want. These patterns, known as paradigms, are responsible for our results. Most people go through their lives without being able to change these results precisely because they do not alter their paradigms. They need to transform the existing programming in the subconscious. This is the paradigm, a set of deeply ingrained habits in our subconscious mind that governs our behavior. Have you ever imagined that to achieve prosperity and wealth, it is essential to mentalize and repeat these affirmations until they become a desire that will attract more and more prosperity? Therefore, comment, "I am prosperous and generate wealth." And I will leave a little heart on your comment, confirming that you will be the first millionaire in your family. Now that you have commented, let's move on. Consider the following: your behavior causes your results. To change the exterior, you need to alter what is within you. Blaming the government, blaming your spouse, blaming your job will not bring changes. These are not the real problems. The issue lies within you, and this issue is known as a paradigm. Now, how do you change a paradigm? The first step is to identify the results you wish to transform. Suppose you have the habit of waking up late and would like to start getting up earlier. How can you solve this? First, examine what leads you to oversleep. Is it a deeply ingrained idea in your subconscious mind that makes you hit the snooze button and continue sleeping? If you wish to change this result, clearly write down the negative behavior you are observing. For example, note on paper, "I am sleeping too much," or "I always wake up too late." Then ask yourself, what is the opposite of this? Then write a positive affirmation in the present tense. "I am so happy and grateful now that I get up as soon as I wake up." You need to write this affirmation 40, 70, 100 times a day. I know your logical mind might doubt this and say it's nonsense, that it won't work, but I ask you to at least try. Write the affirmations about what you want to change 100 times a day for about 30 consecutive days. I guarantee that you will never hit the snooze button again and will start waking up earlier with ease. This happens because you have programmed a new idea in your subconscious mind that will begin to dominate the old one. This practice inserts a new program into your subconscious, and the old program will disappear because you are no longer feeding it. The old routine of sleeping in late will be replaced by a new habit of getting up as soon as you wake up. What you have done is programmed a new habit, essentially the opposite of the old one, which dies from lack of reinforcement. We were taught that knowledge is power, but the truth is that knowledge itself is not power. If knowledge were power, librarians would be extremely wealthy, as they are surrounded by all kinds of knowledge on the shelves around them. Knowledge is potential power, but it does not exert power until it is applied. Many people do not know how to earn money because they did not learn this in school, but earning money is one of the simplest things when you understand the rules of the game. There are individuals all over the world who never finished school and yet make millions. Conversely, there are people with master's degrees or doctorates who struggle to survive. This may seem illogical at first, but it makes perfect sense when you understand who earns money, how, and why. The idea of accumulating wealth has existed for a long time. If you study the ancient Babylonians, you will see that they knew how to earn money. If you study how money moves, you will realize that you can earn it, and more importantly, you can earn the amount you desire. Everything operates on frequencies, just as your cell phone operates on a specific frequency, and you need to change the frequency you are operating on. We can attract to us what is in resonance with us. Much of the knowledge I share today I learned from a person named Ray Stanford. He once told me, "If you do exactly what I say, I will show you how you can have anything you desire." Initially, I did not believe much in it, but he told me the path I am following is working, and yours is not. Why not try? He had a lot of money and seemed very happy. I decided to follow his advice, and then the changes began to happen. Soon, I started making a lot of money and began building my own company with offices in Montreal, Toronto, Boston, Atlanta, and Cleveland, earning more than $1 million a year. I was just a young guy, and one day something made me think, why am I having so much success? I didn't know how to answer that question, but I knew it wasn't just luck. I was raised believing that to have money, you had to be lucky. I was also taught that without a college degree, I would never have a good job. However, not only did I have a good job, but I also owned the company. This left me perplexed. I thought, how did all this happen? Without an answer to this question, I decided to find out and began to study. I continued until I unraveled the mystery of my success, and since then, all I want is to share this discovery with others. It is crucial that you understand the following: your paradigms determine your logic, control how you use your time, and the amount of money you earn. If you want to change your life, you must change your paradigms. Understand that the results you are obtaining are directly linked to your paradigms. It has nothing to do with intelligence with it. You can understand how to do things, but this does not imply that you will do them. Unlock wealth in 90 days with the wisdom of a 7,000-year-old wizard. The Wealth Wizard's Secrets to be Rich. Achieving wealth in 90 days helps you overcome limiting beliefs, reprogram your mind, and set clear goals. This transformative guide, packed with motivational stories and practical exercises, is your path to prosperity. Get it now for the promotional price, available only today. Click on the pinned comment link and start your journey to wealth now. You will see people saying they believe in something, but their behavior often reflects something completely different. Why is that? We believe in something at a conscious level, but the paradigms of the subconscious mind hold different beliefs. There is a concept called practice. Practice is the integration of belief with behavior. We need to replace the old beliefs we consciously determined with new ones. I believed that I couldn't do anything better than what I was already doing. The idea of building a global company was unthinkable. But when I changed my paradigm, my whole world changed. If you want to change your life, you need to change your paradigm. And how is a paradigm formed? Through the repetition of ideas. Let's use a practical example. Maybe you are facing financial difficulties, something very common. To overcome this, you need to change your concept about money. How do you do that? Through the repetition of a new idea. And this is where affirmations come in. I'll share one that I have used for a long time. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources. You should not repeat this just once or twice. You need to affirm it thousands of times a day, every day, for at least 90 days. Then you will start to change your whole concept about money. I do this every day, and I have been doing it for years. The repetition of these affirmations over the years is what changed my paradigm. In summary, to transform your life, you must consistently work on changing your paradigms through the repetition of new ideas and affirmations until they replace the old negative patterns that kept you stuck in a cycle of no progress. With determination and practice, positive results will come naturally. Do you know the difference between an asset and a liability? If you cannot answer this simple question, this message is for you. Did you know that the smallest part of the income of the rich is spent on luxury? Contrary to what many think, the rich invest in assets, the poor only deal with expenses, and the middle class acquires liabilities believing they are assets. This is a passage from one of the most recognized books in the history of personal finance, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. With this in mind, listen carefully to what I have to say. What you are acquiring is probably leading you to either poverty or wealth. If you invest more in assets than in liabilities, it is likely that you will have more prosperity in the future. On the other hand, if you acquire more liabilities, you are on the path to poverty and financial servitude without being aware of it. But what are assets? What are liabilities? What is the difference between them? Pay close attention, because I am going to present a concept different from the traditional accounting concept of assets and liabilities. This concept was established by Robert Kiyosaki to explain a fundamental principle of personal finance. If you have made it this far, it is a sign that you are determined to change your life, a sign that you are tired of working just to survive and pay bills. The vast majority of people by now have already abandoned this video. It doesn't matter, wealth is for a few. If you are part of this minority, subscribe and help us reach hardworking and dreaming people like you. In summary, according to Kiyosaki, an asset is anything that generates money for you, while a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. It's as simple as that: an asset generates more money, and a liability takes money out of your pocket. Notice that by this definition, you can acquire things that generate money for you. However, you can also acquire things that take money out of your pocket. As you can imagine, if you acquire more things that take money out of your pocket, the tendency is to have less and less money. This concept of assets and liabilities is extremely simple but powerful. Without exaggeration, the understanding and application of this concept will define your financial future. Poverty or wealth arises from the understanding and application of this idea in your personal life. As I mentioned at the beginning, the rich invest in assets, the less wealthy only deal with expenses, and the middle class acquires liabilities thinking they are assets. Therefore, from now on, I will make clear the difference between assets and liabilities through practical examples. Is a vehicle an asset or a liability? To find out if it is an asset or a liability, refer back to the definition we mentioned. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket, and a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Based on this definition, we can say that unless you work as a driver, cars do not put money in your pocket. On the contrary, they take money out of your pocket. When you acquire one, you will have expenses with maintenance, fuel, taxes, fines, depreciation, and many others. If you have expenses, money will leave your pocket, so the car is a liability. Are shares of companies traded on the stock exchange assets or liabilities? Being direct and objective, shares can generate dividends or be sold in the future with capital appreciation. Therefore, they tend to put money in your pocket, so they are assets. A personal house, the property you acquire, is it an asset or a liability? This is the most controversial example there is. Therefore, I ask that you listen to me carefully until the end and only then draw your own conclusions. To reach a true verdict, ask yourself, does the house you buy to live in put money in your pocket or not? When you bought your house, did you have more expenses and debts or more money in your pocket? Notice that, in general, a property to live in, to be our home, does not put money in our pocket. On the contrary, it takes money out of our pocket. After all, we incur expenses with maintenance, taxes, renovations, and others. But you might still be wondering, my house is an asset because it has appreciated a lot. Since I bought it, I answer yes, it may have appreciated, but are you going to sell it to buy another one that costs less and put money in your pocket? If the answer is no, then I'm sorry to say, your house is not an asset, it is a liability because it does not put money in your pocket. It takes money out of your pocket. Perhaps you are still questioning, when I bought my house, I stopped renting. I stopped paying rent, which is money that doesn't come back, and I started paying the mortgage on my house. Okay, you now pay the mortgage on the property, and in the future, when it is paid off, it will be entirely yours. Such thinking makes sense, however. This does not mean that the property is putting money in your pocket because it does not generate money for you. On the contrary, the mortgage is taking money out of your pocket as long as it lasts. See, a financed property is not like living in your parents' house or a house received as an inheritance. No, in financing, money leaves your pocket, and if you do not intend to rent it out or sell it for a profit in the future, no money will enter your pocket, it will only go out. Therefore, this is not an investment. However, you might still be questioning, I own a house, I don't pay rent, so I save the money I would be spending on rent, therefore, money is coming into my pocket. So my house is an asset. Such an idea is a half-truth. Yes, those who own a house do not pay rent, but in a way they continue to pay, in quotes, a rent called the opportunity cost. Follow along, and you will understand what I am saying. And I already say, it's not idle talk or hearsay, it's a fact supported by numbers. Let's assume your house is valued at as $500,000. Now, US $500,000 invested in financial applications, such as a real estate investment fund, can yield approximately US $3,000 per month. And the most interesting thing is that you can rent a house worth the same as $500,000 for about as $1,500. Yes, in each region, these numbers may vary. Rental values are different according to the region of the country. However, note that I am not exaggerating these numbers. In this example, I am taking into account that investments in real estate investment funds will yield 0.6% per month, which is entirely within the current reality. In fact, there are several applications in this category that yield well above 0.6% per month. Similarly, I am considering that the rental value is 0.3% of the property's value, which is a common percentage in various regions of the country. Don't be fooled if you have a house. In one way or another, you are taking money out of your pocket, even if it is yours. You withdraw money from your pocket through opportunity cost because if you were investing the assessed value of your home, you could live on rent and still have money left over in many cases. In some cases, there would even be money left over that you could use to rent up to 2 houses of the same standard. Let me make it clear that I'm not saying you shouldn't buy your own home. I'm not saying you shouldn't achieve homeownership. I'm just opening your eyes so you don't deceive yourself into believing that owning a home is an investment. A home to live in is not an investment because it doesn't put money in your pocket. Another point here, I'm classifying the property you buy to live in as a liability. If you buy an apartment, a plot of land, or a house with the intention of selling or renting it out, then it's an asset because the expectation is that it will put money in your pocket. Having said that, I believe this concept of asset and liability is clear. Here's another crucial point. Are you acquiring more assets or liabilities? Are you acquiring more things that put money in your pocket, like shares in good companies, units of real estate investment funds, and financial investments such as treasury bonds, LSIS and CDBs? Or are you spending more on clothes and state-of-the-art electronics? Are you spending more on acquiring properties for rental or sale? Or are you spending more on constantly changing your car? Conduct an honest self-analysis and see if you're spending more on assets or liabilities. If you're spending more on liabilities, your expenses will always increase. And the reason is clear: liabilities always take money out of our pockets. Anyone who owns 2 or 3 cars knows what I'm saying. After all, cars always incur expenses for maintenance, taxes, insurance, and so on. What's even sadder is that your salary won't always increase at the same rate as your expenses. Those who buy more liabilities than assets tend to always be slaves to work, where they'll always have to work more overtime, extra jobs, or many other things to keep up with their expenses. In this way, those who buy many liabilities fall into what's called the rat race, always having to work more to afford a high standard of living. Of course, the consumer culture that exists in our society always urges us to buy more and more liabilities, but we must remember Christ's warning to be on guard against all kinds of greed, for life does not consist in the abundance of possessions. We must remember the question posed in the book of Isaiah: why spend money on what is not bread, and your labor on what does not satisfy? Finally, it makes complete sense to recall Robert Kiyosaki's statement: the rich invest in assets, the poor deal only with expenses, and the middle class acquires liabilities thinking they are assets. Do you understand now? The poor buy expensive things even without having the necessary money, thinking it's a habit of the wealthy. The rich spend on assets things that will give them some financial return and only spend on luxury when they have surplus money for it. Rich people always have plenty of money left over because most of their income and expenses are related to assets, not liabilities. People from the lower middle class often spend what they don't have, often to show off. They buy branded items like iPhones, throw parties, pay for everything in installments, and then get into debt, deluding themselves into thinking they're rich. If you've made it this far, please leave your like. It's a simple, quick, and free way to support this project aimed at transforming people's lives through financial education.